Well, and that wasn't the only bill that we had this week going before Governor Polis. He signed a bill that will increase the number of locations in Colorado where undocumented residents can obtain a driver's license. The program began in 2014, and supporters say that it would make it easier for workers to drive to work and operate machinery. Meanwhile, the governor also signed House Bill 1134 that would prevent law enforcement officials from holding undocumented immigrants solely upon a request from ICE. Christo, what do you think is going to go on with these two bills now?
Well, the first one I think is disconcerting. I can't think of any country in the world that makes it very easy for people to live and work there illegally. I think it's a shame that we're doing that here in Colorado. On the other hand, the second bill makes a lot of sense, given that holding people without, without having any kind of adjudication and due process is actually against the Bill of Rights. And so, if the police, if jails notify ICE while that person is in jail for whatever offense they've given, that's one thing. To hold them on a detainer after the fact is probably a violation of their rights. So I would say the second bill makes sense.
Well, and of course, ICE came down on Colorado for that second bill. Susan, what do you see happening?
Well, in the first bill, I want to say this was a bill very much supported by Republicans. And the truth is, in our economy in Colorado, where we have farms and ranches that very much rely on these immigrants to drive tractors and to drive trucks. This is actually a necessity. This is how we produce food in Colorado. So this is by no means some radical step taken by the governor. The second bill simply codifies what courts have already said, that that counties and states cannot do the work of the federal government. And what activists, civil rights activists, and immigrant rights activists have been very disappointed with is that the governor has not been willing to take it a step further in saying, no, the feds cannot deputize state law enforcers to go rounding people up. And Jared Polis, who really was long an advocate of undocumented immigrants, was unwilling his first year and first term in office to really make that move. And I think we'll be watching closely what he does next session on that issue.
David, we're running short on time, but we want your input on this one.
Well, as Susan said, the driver's license thing, which expands from 3 to 10 the number of places where illegal aliens can get state government driver's licenses, was certainly supported by agriculture and other business. And that's always been the situation. That's why the Republicans were the immigration non-restrictionist party in the 1880s, and the Democrats were the restrictionist party, because you expand this labor pool, you drive down labor costs. And on the other one, this is the federal and state governments have their own separate sovereignties and can choose to cooperate or not. And we see this on not only on right to arms issues, on marijuana, and on illegal aliens. Sometimes the right likes it, sometimes the left likes it, but it's in the design of our constitutional system, this degree of state sovereignty.
Eric, is Colorado in the right here?
I'll try to be really quick. I have no problem with either of these bills that the governor signed, specifically with regard to the driver's license one. It's not a matter that if all of a sudden you didn't give them a license, they're not going to be on the roads. And as long as immigrants here are going to be on the roads, I'd much prefer that they be licensed and insured and all the rest. I think it only makes sense, and it's only in the public interest, not only in the interest of that immigrant or that immigrant's employer.